In high school, we had this guy named Brad. He was your classic textbook bully. Huge, captain of the football team, and he genuinely thought he owned the place. His favorite thing to do was steal food from smaller kids in the cafeteria. He'd just walk up, snatch your burger or dessert, laugh in your face, and walk away. The teachers always looked the other way because his dad was a major sponsor for the school's sports team. I was his regular target. But one day, my mom baked her famous chocolate cake. It was an absolute masterpiece. I brought a massive slice to school, but by the first period, I realized Brad was definitely going to steal it. And that's when a genius plan popped into my head. I went to the chemistry lab. Our chemistry teacher was a cool guy, and he always kept this safe but incredibly powerful blue food dye in his cabinet. This stuff was crazy. It wouldn't wash off your skin or tongue for about a week. I asked him for a little bit, for a home experiment. Then, I went to the locker room, got a syringe, and carefully injected the blue concentrate right into the middle of the chocolate cake. From the outside, it looked completely normal. Lunchtime comes. I sit at my usual table and submissively pull out the cake. Brad appears out of nowhere in like 2 seconds. He snatches the container out of my hands, says, "Thanks for the treat, loser," and right in front of the entire cafeteria, he takes a massive bite, swallowing half the slice. 3 seconds later, his face completely changes. The blue dye instantly stained his teeth, lips, tongue, and even his chin in a bright, avatar-like blue. He literally looked like a clown. The entire cafeteria, over 200 kids, just exploded into pure laughter. Brad started spitting and coughing, but it was way too late. The absolute best part happened the next day. Our school had a huge game that was being broadcasted on local TV. Brad had to walk onto the field with a bright blue mouth. Every time the camera zoomed in on his face, the commentators were completely confused, and the whole stadium was dying of laughter. After that day, he never, not even once, walked up to my table again. And my mom's chocolate cake is now my favorite dessert ever. In my junior year, we had a history teacher named Mr. Gable. This guy was an absolute nightmare. He treated the classroom like a prison camp and had one strict, legally questionable rule: if your phone made any sound during his class, he would confiscate it and keep it in his desk for a whole week. No exceptions, even if it was your parents calling. Everyone was terrified of him, but I decided to play his own game. I noticed that Mr. Gable kept his own personal phone on his desk, and his ringtone was the default, super loud Apple alarm sound. That's when my evil plan started rolling. I went on Amazon and bought a super cheap, tiny Bluetooth speaker, the kind that looks like a little keychain. The next day, I arrived to class early and discreetly taped this tiny speaker to the back of the heavy metal filing cabinet at the very back of the classroom. It was completely hidden from view. Fast forward to the middle of the exam. The room is dead silent. Everyone is sweating over their test papers. I slowly put my hand in my pocket, opened the app on my phone, and connected to the hidden speaker. Then, I played the exact same Apple alarm ringtone at maximum volume. The sound blasted from the back of the room. Mr. Gable instantly froze. His face turned red. He stood up, slammed his hands on his desk, and yelled, "Whose phone is that? Bring it to my desk right now or the whole class gets an F." Nobody moved. The alarm kept ringing. Mr. Gable was furious. He started walking down the aisles, ripping open backpacks and searching pockets, completely losing his mind. While his back was turned, I paused the sound. He stopped, confused. As soon as he walked back to his desk, I hit play again. He was practically foaming at the mouth. He started throwing books aside, screaming that someone was disrespecting his authority. He was so loud that the principal, who was walking down the hallway, heard the screaming and walked right into our classroom. In my senior year, we had this kid named Chad. Chad was the definition of a spoiled brat. His parents were filthy rich, he drove a brand new sports car to school, and he treated everyone like garbage. His favorite thing was forcing smart kids to do his homework. If you said no, he'd make your life a living hell using his popular friends. For our final economics class, the teacher assigned a massive group project that was worth 40% of our final grade. If you failed it, you wouldn't graduate. Guess who got paired with Chad? Me. On day one, Chad walked up to me, slapped his laptop on my desk, and said, "Listen, loser. You're doing the whole project. I'm going to Miami for the weekend. Put my name on it, or you'll regret it. Then he walked away. I pretended to be scared and agreed. For the next 2 weeks, I worked my butt off. I created an absolute masterpiece of a presentation. But I also made 2 separate versions of it. Version A had both of our names on it. Version B had only my name, and a hidden final slide titled, Chad's Real Contribution. On that slide, I attached screenshots of all his threatening text messages in a log showing he hadn't opened the shared Google Doc even once. The day of the presentation arrives. Chad shows up wearing expensive clothes, smiling, completely confident. We get called to the front of the class. Chad stands next to me, fixes his jacket, and whispers, "Don't screw this up." I plug in my laptop and open version B. I present the entire project perfectly for 10 minutes while Chad just stands there, nodding like he actually did something. Then, I reach the final slide. I hit next. The screen fills with his text messages saying, "Do my work, loser," and the data showing 0% effort from him. The entire classroom goes dead silent. The teacher's jaw literally drops. Chad's face goes from cocky to pale white in 1 second. He tries to stutter, that's a glitch." But it was useless. The teacher didn't even let him finish. Chad got an automatic 0 for the project, failed the class, and was banned from walking at graduation. His rich dad was so furious about the public embarrassment that he took away Chad's sports car and cut off his allowance. Meanwhile, I got an A+ and the best laugh of my life. In our high school, we had a major problem with a thief. For months, expensive things kept vanishing from locker rooms: AirPods, branded hoodies, and pocket money. The worst part, the thief was smart and never left any evidence. Everyone suspected it was Marcus, a shady guy who always hung around the lockers, but since nobody could prove it, the principal said his hands were tied. Last month, my older brother bought me a brand new, expensive gaming headset for my birthday. I brought it to school to show my friends, but during gym class, someone broke into my locker and stole it. I was devastated, but then I remembered something. My brother is a tech geek, and as a joke, he had hidden a tiny air tag tracking device inside the cushion of the headset. I didn't say a word to anyone. I quietly opened the Find My app on my phone. The signal led me straight to the back of the classroom during our next period. I could see the green dot pulsing exactly where Marcus was sitting. I decided to make it cinematic. Instead of telling the teacher privately, I waited until the classroom was completely quiet during a silent reading session. I stood up, walked to the front of the room, and said loudly, "Hey everyone, my headset was stolen today, but I have a magic app that can make the thief's backpack sing." Marcus looked at me and smirked, thinking I was bluffing. Right then, I tapped the play sound button on my screen. Suddenly, a loud, high-pitched chirping sound started blasting directly from inside Marcus's backpack. Beep, beep, beep. Marcus froze. His face turned completely red as everyone turned around to look at him. The teacher walked over and ordered him to open the bag. Inside, we didn't just find my headset. Marcus's bag was stuffed with 3 other pairs of AirPods, a stolen silver watch, and hundreds of dollars in cash. He had been robbing the school clean for months. The principal was called immediately. Marcus was suspended on the spot, and his parents had to pay for everything he stole to avoid criminal charges. Getting my headset back was great, but watching his smug face crumble while his backpack was literal evidence was the best birthday present ever. In my sophomore year, we got a new computer science teacher named Mr. Vance. This guy was incredibly arrogant. He constantly bragged about his master's degree and loved making students feel stupid if they made a single mistake in their code. If your program had a bug, he would project it onto the big screen and laugh at it in front of the whole class. Last semester, he gave me AD on a project because of a tiny typo, even though the code worked perfectly. When I tried to explain, he smirked and said, "Maybe coding isn't for you, kid. Stick to playing games." That was the moment I decided to code something he would never forget. Our school computers were all connected to one massive, central network printer in Mr. Vance's classroom. Since I had access to the network, I wrote a super simple, automated Python script. I programmed it to do one specific thing. Every time Mr. Vance turned on his main computer, the script would automatically send a command to the network printer. The command told the printer to print just one single page. On that page, in huge, bold letters, it said, "Mr. Vance, your code has a bug. The next morning, Mr. Vance walks into the classroom, full of himself, and turns on his PC. The printer instantly wakes up and spits out the page. Mr. Vance looks at it, crumbles it up, and throws it away, thinking it's a glitch. But here is the best part. I set the script to repeat the command every 5 minutes. By the middle of the class, the printer had spit out 10 pages. Mr. Vance was getting furious. He tried to unplug the printer, but as soon as he plugged it back in, another page. He tried to check the print queue on his computer, but I had hidden the script deep inside the background system processes. He spent the entire lesson swearing under his breath, and trying to fix the glitch, while the whole class watched the genius computer master completely fail to stop a printer. The printer ended up running out of paper and ink by the afternoon, completely blocking his lesson plans for the rest of the day. He had to call the school's IT department, and it took them 2 days to find my script. Because I used a guest VPN account, they could never trace it back to my laptop. Mr. Vance never found out it was me, but after being humiliated by a printer, he stopped making fun of his students' mistakes. Turns out, his code had a major bug.